Okay, we might have just solved the Bermuda Triangle. You know, countless planes, boats, and people disappearing into thin air in that area of the Atlantic that's just an urban myth. The world's biggest mystery finally has an answer, and there's a reason the US Navy intentionally avoids it. As retired Navy admirals, among other government officials, have confirmed that UFOs can travel through water just as easily as they pass through air. USOs, unidentified submerged objects, are our most recent addition to the tinfoil hat told you so checklist. And now that we look back with this in mind, reports from our past tell us we've been seeing them for centuries. As far back as 1492, in the personal journal of Christopher Columbus was an entry about a glimmering light he saw moving in the water below as he sailed the ocean. Just a day or two later, he hits land, which means that entry was written when he and his crew were right in the Bermuda Triangle. In 1644, the mayor of Boston is reported to have seen two bright lights come out of the water just off the east coast. 1873, the Adelheid ship reported to have sailed over a massive circular object in the South China Sea that lit up the ocean for over an hour. Something they said looked like a Ferris wheel, which kicked off a series of reports of the same object over the next few decades. In 1879, the HMS Vulture saw a large Ferris wheel spinning in the ocean with spokes that were 7.5 meters wide and spaced 30 meters apart. 1880, commander of the SS Shah Jahan described a massive Ferris wheel under a perfectly calm sea near India's Malabar coast. 1901, Persian Gulf, captain of the SS Kilwa saw lights emitting from the same underwater Ferris wheel revolving at a speed of around 100 kilometers an hour. 1907 and 1909, crews of the SS Delta and SS Bintang again saw glowing spinning wheels about 275 meters in diameter beneath the water in the Straits of Malacca. The Danish Meteorological Institute reported a massive rotating wheel with lights back in the South China Sea, spotted by the Dutch steamer Valentine, this time above the water in 1910. Reports like these have been extremely common all around our world's oceans throughout history, which sounds very similar to what's been seen around the Bermuda Triangle. Locals, tourists, and military alike have hundreds of reports of lights underwater, strange craft circling them, round objects rising and going beneath the surface. It's why the Bermuda Triangle is the Bermuda Triangle. Countless stories about unexplained disappearances, metallic objects, and lights seen in the ocean, which survivors of accidents in the triangle have very commonly reported on. In 1945, we have the now famous story of the 5 military bombers flying over the triangle on routine training. All 5 planes vanish without a trace. The Navy sends a rescue plane and that one disappears too, all never heard from again. And the US Navy is well aware of the activity in that area, that's for sure. Like, did you know the Navy kinda has their own bootleg version of Area 51 they call AUTEC, Atlantic Undersea Test and Evaluation Center, which is located in the Bahamas in the Bermuda Triangle. I wonder why. A secret facility where they test their own, mainly sea-based military technology. And the personnel working there have also reported the same bizarre observations in the area, with some noting crafts up to a mile in diameter coming out of and going back into the ocean without a visible splash. Almost like these objects aren't affected by matter, which sounds impossible but also kind of makes sense when you think about how fast and erratically UFOs move. Some researchers suggest these UAPs may have vacuum force fields around them that manipulate matter, which allows them to move and interact with our world in ways that seem to defy physics. Kinda sounds like a warp drive to me. And these aren't just rumors, by the way. We have ex-Department of Defense officials like Luis Elizondo who openly talk about declassified operations from down there, which only prove exactly what everyone else was saying. One story involves a Navy helicopter pilot who recovers test missiles from the ocean and was en route to retrieve one from the area, who was approaching the missile when all of a sudden something huge and round slowly rose to the surface from deep beneath the water. They couldn't believe their eyes as a circular object the size of a small island becomes visible just below the ocean right under the missile they were going to retrieve. Panicked and unsure what to do, they watch in disbelief as the object sucks the missile down and then sinks back into the depths of the ocean as swiftly as it appeared. Elizondo also talks about the Aguadilla incident, a video of a UAP around Puerto Rico that he confirms enters the water without making a splash, comes back out, and then splits in two, which the Pentagon recently debunked for being just a temperature reading mistake, but you also have ex-military personnel insisting it's real. And these are just the declassified reports. He made it very obvious that there were many more incidents that he was not allowed to talk about that you could imagine would only get worse. So, what on earth is going on here? What are these gargantuan circular objects found in our oceans time and time again? Okay, we might have just